Have you ever noticed how some people can change the air in a room without saying a single word? They don't raise their voice, they don't explain. They simply step back, and it's as if an invisible switch turns all the lights to another color. What if you did the same? What if you paused your impulse to react and chose silence, turned off your phone for a while, and let every right now become later? What would happen then? The first day would feel strange, I know. The system expects your quick answer. Work, friends, family. Everyone grips your predictability. They reply immediately. They never say no. They don't break. But who wrote those sentences? Did you write them, or were you asked to perform a role? That's the point. Being constantly reachable looks like comfort, but the price is an invisible armor you wear without noticing. Jung would say that the annoyance you see in another often opens a door inside you. In other words, when someone grumbles that you've changed, it's rarely about them. It is a mirror held up by your courage. And it's normal to shiver the first time you face that mirror, because it reflects not only the outside, but the long postponed shadows within. The cost of being available piles up quietly. At work, just a small favor grows into tasks due by evening. Every "I'll handle it" becomes a tab left open in your mind at 2 a.m. In your circle of friends, "It won't be the same without you" sounds warm, but often hides this: match our rhythm. In family life, "we can't ask you for one little thing" takes root exactly where your boundary isn't named. And where all of this overlaps, your rhythm falls apart. Because availability isn't just a behavior, it's an energy, an always open door, a friendly light, a threshold perpetually saying, "Come in." But if the door never closes, choosing who walks in gets harder. After a while, you feel like a guest in your own home, a stranger in your own mind. Still you say, "This is just who I am," because when a role is worn long enough, it's mistaken for skin. Here's the quiet trade at work. You give your reactions, your speed, your yeses. The other side receives the small sense of control that comes from your predictability. They'll say this now, and then they'll do that. And what do you get in return? Most often, a tense peace. Everyone's satisfied, except your shoulders. So what happens when you choose to retreat? First, the scene freezes. Maybe for a few minutes, maybe for a few days. Little questions flutter by. Why aren't they writing? Why didn't they call? You feel uneasy at first, afraid the silence will be misread. But then you notice, silence isn't disappearance. It's moving the seat of power. It doesn't shove. It repositions by shifting gravity. And often, it restores a respect you could never obtain by shouting. Here, 3 simple Jungian signposts help: persona, projection, shadow. Persona is the you that people understand, the thin jacket you wear in public. Projection is the feeling you spot in someone else's reaction that actually belongs to you. And the shadow is what stands behind it all. The long, silenced part that says, "I am here too." All 3 become clearer in silence. When the noise drops, you finally see who's left on stage. Let's come closer. What are the small, daily costs of always being reachable? Don't list them like tasks. Let them flow like a dialogue. Quick, yes, because no feels tense. Later, regret, because the schedule isn't yours. Late night replies, because it would be rude otherwise. Morning fatigue, because the body collects its debt with interest. Rushing to be everywhere, because I don't want to seem absent. Thinning inside, because you drifted from your real work. Calm on the surface, because you don't want to be rude. Quiet resentment within, because you don't feel heard. I'll handle it, because it feels strong. The color of revolt later, because sometimes asking for support is the true strength. See it? They aren't duties, they're the notes of your rhythm. Each small, together they conduct the whole piece. Then an old motif sneaks back in. What if they get hurt? That question looks gentle, but often smuggles in a secret wish to direct others' lives. Is that possible? No. Retreating isn't punishment. It levels the field so everyone has the same space. That's why one day a single sign changes the balance. I'm not available today. Used well, that sentence isn't a threat. It's a signpost. No one enjoys being left in the dark. A clear boundary resets the compass. A boundary isn't a wall. It's a clock that tells you when the door opens. Now ask yourself a few questions. When do I genuinely want to be reachable? Which hours are my production field? Which friends leave me charged and which leave me in the red? These won't make you selfish. They raise the quality of your sharing. When you know what you give, when, and how much, what you give gains value. Jung's simple warning about personality is this: if what you carry doesn't carry you, then you are carrying it. When the persona carries you, there's flow. When you carry the persona, it's a burden. So you don't rip the mask off, you thin it so you can breathe. Silence does that work. In silence, you can see the seams. Where is it tight? Where does it cut? Where must it stretch? Picture the story in two scenes. First, the office. Everyone is fast. Meeting after meeting. You say, I'll look after I clock out, and at night, there's nothing left of you to look with. Second, your own long-postponed project sits in the right corner of your desk in a closed folder. The file name is mine. You see it every day and glance away every day. Why? Because the right nows speak louder than mine. What if, for once, you invert it? Look at mine first, and then at the right nows. It sounds risky, I know. But the real risk is noticing years later that you never opened that folder. And those who mistake your retreat, they'll exist too. Are you giving me attitude? You've changed. You're not who you used to be. When you hear those lines, remember, their order is wobbling too. Your new rhythm asks theirs to rearrange. That pressure rarely feels pleasant. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It means a search for balance has begun, and balance sounds noisy at first. Here's a small internal adjustment. Silence isn't sulking. Distance isn't punishment. Retreat is a step inward. Because no rhythm is sustainable outside if it isn't tuned inside. Do this and you'll notice two things. 1. Some relationships become clearer and deeper. 2. Some relationships quietly exit the stage. Both are life. Let me offer a frame. Not rules, but rhythm suggestions. Every day, choose 45-90 minutes of total blackout. Renewal sprouts in unbroken soil. Batch notifications on and off. Always on alerts mean never deep. Catch your first 3 quick yes moments and turn one into let me think and get back to you. Speed often hides a desire to regain control under the mask of conscience. When you step back, leave a short note. I'm offline between these hours. I'll respond at this time. When a boundary is vague, the other person's anxiety turns into attack. Once a week, open the mine folder. As your own file closes, what you bring to the world grows stronger. When you try this, you'll receive 2 kinds of feedback. First, this actually helps me. The calm that follows makes your exchanges clearer. Second, you're not like you used to be. Smile gently when you hear it. You're right. You aren't. And that's good news. It means both you and the relationship are growing. Now a glance at shadow. Shadow isn't only dark. The brightness we ignore is part of the shadow too. Maybe the power to say no is what your shadow holds. Maybe a small spark within has waited years to say, I want to be the center for once. Silence opens an ear to hear that spark. Wait, what do I truly want right now? That short question shines a light into shadow. It's not easy, I know. Sometimes the child inside you believes love requires speed. Don't be harsh with them. Say, I know you're afraid. Say, this time we won't rush. Love grows with room, not with speed. And room is silence by another name. You've come this far. A voice in you said, it's worth trying. Honor that voice. Today, make one small swap. Give your first hour to the mine folder. Or, instead of replying instantly, insert a breath-length pause. In that space, notice what passes through. Where do you feel it in the body? Name it. This is urgency. This is fear of losing. This is hunger for approval. Naming often heals half of tomorrow today. And remember, silence is not abandonment. It's an invitation. Come in, stay a little, let's tidy this table, says a gentle inner host. When that invitation is heard, relationships change shape. Some deepen, some grow thinner, some dissolve by their own nature. Together they raise the bar of your life. You stop being there every minute and choose to be fully there at the right moments. It may feel like a door is closing, but two windows open at once, one toward yourself, one toward the world. The first is deeper, the second, wider. Stand between those two windows and the light falls differently on everything. When the direction of light changes, the tone of the story changes too. And when a single sign appears, power truly shifts. You return to your own center. The world learns to recognize you in your new place. Let's speak from even closer in. Change doesn't begin on a podium of grand resolutions. It begins at the narrow gate of small moments. A message lands and your fingers hover over the keys. Exactly there, your stance appears. When you delay the reaction, you don't disconnect from the world. You plug in from a different socket. Silence isn't absence. It's choice redirected. In Jung's language, when the distance between persona and essence shortens, your breath changes. No need to rip the mask. Loosen its seams so your face can recover its own lines. Through that gap, a question slips. Do I truly want this, or is this what's expected of me? As the question takes root, the places where role and essence blur begin to separate, and for the first time, you hear clearly who is speaking on your stage. In daily life, the proof is simple. In your friend group, you're often the organizer. You pick the venue, set the time, gather the latecomers. Say, not this time, I'm not organizing, and the scene stalls for a second. Either someone naturally takes the role or the plan stumbles. Either way, the shape of the invisible load becomes visible, and you finally hear its true name on your shoulders. In that moment, guilt and relief share the same body for a while. One wants the old order, the other carries the smell of a new open space. At work, the picture is similar. Being the first call in every small crisis can feel like praise, but living on constant alarm keeps your nervous system loud. Set your phone to airplane mode during non-meeting hours and the world won't crumble. In fact, you'll watch some knots loosen on their own. Not every problem requires touch. Some require width and time. As you learn to wait, you notice that the speed you called solution can be a form of flight. That realization doesn't break you. It teaches you. In family life, everything is more delicate. Lines like, "Don't keep things from us," are expectations wrapped in warmth. Where boundaries are missing, love tires. Clear speech helps. Tell them the hours you'll be present. Be honest about the hours you'll return to yourself. Clarity isn't the enemy of feeling. It protects feeling. A frame doesn't shrink love. It stops overflow and helps love find its bed. Closeness stops being a tangle and becomes a stream between two solid banks. The water is free and it knows its way. As you read the outside, try calling back your projections. When you read a face as hurt, whisper to yourself, "What am I hurt about right now?" The thin line between interpretation and reality appears exactly here. Much of what you think you see is filtered through the light of your own wound. Turn the beam a little, and the view changes. Soon you discover that the answers you hunt in others' expressions were hidden in your body's quiet all along. And that soft discovery lowers the volume of the world. Notice the road signs of this path. They make the flow easier. If you speed up the moment a topic opens, there's a pressure to catch up inside you. Try slowing, and the sentence's essence will show. If you write long explanations, fear of being misunderstood is speaking. You'll see that a short, clear sentence often carries more respect. The reflex, "It's fine, I'll do it," summons the invisible hero. But even the strongest hero needs a dressing room. If guilt rises when you set a boundary, what's shifting isn't guilt, but responsibility. A boundary doesn't inflate guilt. It balances responsibility and makes the relationship more resilient. The spark inside is already waiting. Often all it needs is 1 minute of courage. You'll find that courage in a quiet corner of the day. Keeping notifications off through the first light protects the mind's widest window from the crowd. Converting reply times into 2 bundles, one near noon, one toward the evening, gathers scattered energy into an invisible bowl. When you catch a quick yes, soften it into "let me think and get back to you," and you give time a voice. Add a small direction to your "no, not today. Let's talk tomorrow at 3." And you calm the other person's anxiety before it turns into attack. The conversation keeps its kindness. Don't treat these as rules. Let them dissolve into the flow. Before an important message, turn to your breath for 60 seconds. Notice where the body tightens and name it. Put your phone out of arm's reach while you work. If you have to stand up to fetch it, you'll admit the topic isn't truly urgent. At day's end, leave yourself a short note. Where you made space today, where you chose the old role, and what single thing you'll change tomorrow in one place. See? No numbers, no bullet points. Only little markers that hold the rhythm. And as you hear them, they strengthen. Hard days will come. An old inner voice will rise. Hurry, deal with it later. Leave yourself a small sentence. Direction matters more than speed today. Don't underestimate its simplicity. When direction shifts, the same step gains new meaning. New meaning lowers resistance, loosens the body, clarifies speech. Clarity opens a space where even the other person eventually relaxes. No one wants darkness, but everyone can follow a clear sign. Sometimes the side effect of silence feels like loneliness. You're still separating crowd from connection. That's normal. Choose a small, true circle. 2 people, 3 people, maybe a single friend. Places where intention echoes more than words. There you'll feel understood even when you aren't speaking. Because sharing a rhythm doesn't require constant sound. Silence isn't a shut door here. It's a warm center glowing outward, and that center winks at the day's noise. Small experiments open big doors. For 1 week, in every quick yes moment, count to 3 before you type. Those 3 seconds slow the automatic, and in slowing, make choice possible. Choice lightens the weight. That same week, open the mind folder for 5 minutes. After 5, add 5 more. The first link of the chain is tiny, but it holds the whole door. On an evening walk, listen to your footsteps. As your rhythm finds itself, the world's noise drifts into the backdrop of the music, and the road opens towards you too. Of course, some relationships will quietly step off stage in this new order. It may look like loss. It is space. Space is another name for making room for real bonds. You don't need to be there every minute to be loved. Your absence reminds people of your presence's worth. That reminder is the ripening of a relationship. Some ties grow thinner yet stronger. Some squeak for a bit, then find a new balance. Some say thank you and end. Each brings your life's tempo closer to its true nature and leaves your excesses kindly outside. Keep one more question inside. What truly makes me me? That question recalls projections one by one. The bridge from "they want this" to "I choose this" is shorter than you think. Still, your knees may shake the first time you cross. Don't misread the shaking. Your body is letting go of the old balance as it adapts to a new beat. Sometimes the tremor is just the fine-tuning of a stringed instrument. After a turn or two, the sound clears and your melody sharpens. Here's the wide view. Personal change refines the collective field. A person who can set boundaries brings clarity instead of anger. Clarity fosters trust. Trust lowers noise. As noise falls, creative energy grows. A small silence inside a group becomes outsized productivity. Remember that personal boundaries are doors, not walls. Even when a door is closed, the light is on inside, and it opens again at the right time. Sometimes that light is called self-respect, sometimes calm, sometimes plain, simple order. Evenings may be your hardest time. The day ends, everyone goes quiet, and your mind turns up its own light. Build yourself a small ritual: warm water, a brief stretch, naming the color of the sky out the window. Simple details that call the body into now. Ask, what of me remains today? The answer arrives as an image, half a sentence on the desk, an unanswered message, the echo of an unfinished inner dialogue. Entrust each to a notebook in a single line, and the mind unloads the day. Sleep becomes renewal rather than postponement. Mornings are the opposite. If your hand reaches for the phone the moment you wake, don't treat it as guilt. Treat it as data. If the data speaks, the pattern can change. A small book by the bed, a single page of reading, the cool trace water leaves on your temples. Each writes the day's first sentence with openness instead of haste. When that first sentence changes, the rest of the day obeys. Like instruments joining a melody, your inner rhythm catches a tempo that fits the outer world. The way you speak in relationships changes with silence. Sentences once thrown together in hurry now find their right place after a short wait. I can't respond to this now, let's talk tomorrow. Sounds cold at first. Then you see it isn't cold. It's clear. Clarity speeds understanding. When understanding speeds up, the need to over-explain fades. Words move without weighing each other down, and dialogue becomes a living thing that breathes from within. Your inner speech changes too. When you feel hurt, asking, "What is my share in this?" isn't for self-blame. It's for self-return. As you come back, you meet old thresholds from childhood. Maybe you once believed silence earned love. Maybe you believed speed did. Thank both and write a new line. Compassion grows with room, not with rush. That sentence soothes you and your circle. A feeling that finds room no longer needs to contort. And yes, sometimes a storm hits. A call, an email, a glance, all at once. In those moments, take a deep breath and soften your shoulders. It's like fixing your shoelace before the sprint. You don't run with a knot. As the sound of your steps changes, your direction clarifies. Speed catches up with you anyway, as long as you stand where you mean to stand.